Hi there, Jennifer. How are you doing? Jennifer Lee Jens, is it Jensen's? How are you doing? Welcome to my broadcast. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being here. I'm just waiting for some more people to come on. Usually it takes a minute for people to start coming on. It takes a minute for everyone to be alerted. Well, hi there. How are you doing, Christine? Thank you so much for being here. Hi, there's it, Bet Lapel. How are you? You've been watching me for years. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate your faithfulness. Thank you so much for your support. I'm so honored. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you, Miss Jennifer. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you so much for being here. We're just waiting for a few. It takes a minute for um, YouTube and Facebook to alert everyone that I'm on. So just in case I'm a little quiet, I'm just waiting for a couple more people, for not a couple more, I'm waiting for a few more people to come on. But, as we're talking, what I'll say is that for those of you that are watching the replay, for those of you that are on right now, it is, let's see, it is 8:28 Pacific Standard Time, and it should be like 10:28 Central Standard Time, and let's see, 11:28 Eastern Standard Time. Hi, Queen Cha Cha. And if you are on right now, that means that you are watching me live. And I know this sounds really condescending. I'm not being condescending. You be surprised at what people say when they're upset that I don't say hello. If you look up, like right here on Facebook and right here on Facebook and right here on YouTube, it should be a red live. If it's a red live, I'm actually live. If it says was live, that means I am coming on and this is your replay. And so, like I said, I am so glad that you guys are here. I am so glad you are here. And those of you that see was live on here, you are watching the replay. And so don't be angry with me. Don't be angry with me if I don't say hello. Sometimes people come is really fast. And thank you, Alex, for being here. I appreciate you. Hey, Noah, how are you doing? But I know, like I said, I'm not being condescending. You'd be surprised at the things people say 2 and 3 days after I've broadcasted. They're mad because I won't. Yeah, red is live. There you go. So if you look up at the top and it's red and it says live, that means I am on live. If it says was live and it's in white, that means that you are watching the replay. And I say that not to be condescending. I say that because there are people that come on 2 and 3 days later, and what ends up happening is that they're angry because I won't say hello to them because I'm not live. And so thank you for those of you that are on live, and for those of you that are watching the replay. Thank you so much for being here. And I'm waiting for my moderator to come on. Thank you so much for those of you that are here. I am Dr. Carmen Bryant. I am the host of Overcoming Narcissist Abuse, and I'm also the host of Car Chronicles. A lot of you guys see the videos that I post on TikTok and then repost on Facebook and on Instagram, and I post on YouTube. Those are from Car Chronicles. And some of you guys asked where I got that name from. Actually, it was one of the subscribers that said, "Oh, that is so cool. That's like Car Chronicles." And I said, you know what? That's what we'll name it. We'll name it Car Chronicles, because I'm sitting in the car right before I go into my office, and I come on just to have a little chit chat with you during the weekday. And so those of you that have been with me since the beginning, I think since 2018, those of you that have been here since 2018, those of you that have been here, some of you guys are new subscribers. So I appreciate you guys for being here. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you. Hi, Cindy. Hi, Julie. How are you doing? Thank you so much for being here. Hi, Demario. How are you doing? Thank you so much for being here. I'm just waiting for a few minutes. I'm waiting for my moderator to come on. Usually when my moderator comes on, I can focus, because right now, the trolls come out when we start talking. So as we start talking, to keep me focused on the conversation, I have her to come on, and she's really great at moderating. And so hopefully she's up. I got to make sure she's up. If you see an interruption, Facebook, I'm just texting her, okay? Give me just a second. Let me just get her on. Just let me get her on. Give me a second. Okay. My apologies. How you did. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And thank you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you. That's an honor. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you guys so much for being here. If you give me just a second, I'm just waiting for the moderator to come on. And my moderator helps me to kind of stay focused. So let me look and see if I missed anybody. Let's see. Hello from Florida, Alex. Thank you so much for being here. Hello, Art of Mind. Thank you for being here. Hi, Avery. Queen Cha Cha. Let's see. Thank you guys so much. Hi, Molly. How are you doing? Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you guys so much for being here. Greetings to you all. Thank you so much for being here. Now, give me just a second. Just trying to get my moderator on. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being here. You know, normally when good evening is Nisi's World. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. Hi, Carl from Southern Illinois. Well, hello. Konnichiwa from Tokyo. Thank you for being here. It's a long way around the world. Thank you so much for being here. What time is it in Tokyo? Thank you so much. Oh, thank you, Miss Jennifer. Make me feel all fuzzy on the inside. Thank you, girl. I appreciate you. Hi, Ryder Cruz. How are you? Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Sometimes that's how you feel. Absolutely. Thank you, Ryder. I appreciate you. Thank you. Hi, Joshua. How are you doing? Thank you so much. Hi, Radiant Jewels by Rio. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you. Is that Michelle? Hi, Michelle. How are you doing? Michelle Thompson. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to start in just a minute. Thank you so much for being here. You guys, thank you so much for coming on here. I appreciate you guys. Hopefully she comes on so I won't be interrupted. So hi, April. How are you? Because when we start talking, the trolls come out. And so when the trolls come out, it kind of throws my focus off. Hey, Lanasha, how are you? It's Lanasha. Lanasha, what a pretty name. How are you doing? Thank you for being here. Thank you, Jennifer Kircher. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being here. Hi, that dude. How are you? Thank you so much for being here. Yep, my moderator got come on. My moderator usually take care of me. So sometimes she's a little busy, but that's all right. We'll get through this tonight. We'll get through this tonight. Well, I want to get started. Trying to see who we have on here. Let me see if I see any familiar faces on here. Let's look and see if I got any familiar faces on here. Let's look and see if I got some familiar faces on here. Let's see. Let's see. Let's look in here. Well, we got trolls coming out early. Hi, R. Kelly. Is it R. Kelly? Well, all right. Well, okay then. Carl said, come on, Ma, they already starting. Right. Well, I'm so glad that you're here catching me live as well. Yeah, thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much. Well, this is not what this channel is about, so I can't answer that question. So you would have to find one that kind of deals with the medical side of the house. So I'm not dealing with that. I hope that's a compliment. You know, some people try to slip in something that's not a compliment. So thank you guys so much for being here. I'm going to go ahead and get started. And if I interrupt myself, Miss Jennifer, I got two Jennifers on here. So Miss Jennifer, if I kind of like have to stop, Let me see. Well, thank you, Miss Jennifer. If I have to like stop in between and like get one of the like a roach, or if I have to go over here and get like a troll, remind me of the last thing that I said. Okay, that work for you? Can you do that for me? I appreciate you. I do. Thank you so much. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's go ahead and get started. You guys see the title. The title is the orphan syndrome. And like I said, if I have to stop and catch a troll over here, just remind me the last thing I said, and then I get back on track. Okay. So thank you so much. I appreciate you, that dude 06. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here as well. Um, thank you. Okay, so let's get started. We're talking about the orphan syndrome. So some of you guys, I don't know if a lot of you guys are on my mother's Clubhouse channel, but she talked about this last Tuesday, and she usually comes on Clubhouse. Her name is Helen Sadler. Excuse me, Helen Sadler, your destiny helper, and she was talking about the orphan syndrome, orphan spirit. And she takes it from a psychological standpoint, a coaching standpoint, and a those of you that are believers in Jesus Christ. And I know there's a lot of belief systems on here, but she takes it from that standpoint. And we were talking about that orphan syndrome. Now, me being I am a licensed mental health therapist. I'm also a certified trauma professional. And so one thing that I love dealing with, is not that I love dealing with it because it's so wonderful, because doing trauma work is a lot of work, especially with people that have been really hurt, used and abused and really hurt. Hey, Harold, how are you doing, sir? Long time no see. But the thing is link her channel. If you go to YouTube, you can go to Destiny, your Destiny Helper. And if you go to Clubhouse, it's your Destiny Helper house. So please make sure you go, and there's a replay in there where we were talking about that orphan syndrome. And when you're talking about the orphan syndrome, you're talking about the psychological condition that's called the abandoned child syndrome. Now, this is not a syndrome that is yet put into the DSM-5, which we're working, what we're working on. The DSM-5 is already up to date as of this point. However, in the DSM, the abandoned child syndrome has not been put into the DSM yet. But when you're talking about the orphan syndrome, you're basically talking about that the abandonment syndrome, the abandoned child syndrome. And the way that the abandoned child syndrome comes about is from either physical or emotional neglect or abandonment. When a child has been abandoned, a child has been neglected, some of you have been through it. You've had that abandonment issue, neglect, and it's an attachment issue. The child never had the opportunity, or you as a child has never had the opportunity to connect to a caregiver or to connect to your parents. Some of your parents were actually narcissists, or they possibly had, not all of them may have been narcissists, but some of them may have had mental health issues where they did not have the ability to connect to you as a child or to connect to a child. And anytime there's an issue with attachment as a child, you grow up with different attachment styles. You could grow up with anxious attachment. Anxious attachment. You may grow up with you have issues. There are different types of attachments, and I didn't write them down so I can bring them in here. But you have different issues with attachment. For some of you who have actually said, that you have borderline personality disorder. If you look at borderline personality disorder is a cluster B personality disorder. It is within the cluster of a narcissistic personality disorder, borderline personality disorder, antisocial personality disorder. Those are those clusters. Those are called clusters. And a lot of those clusters bleed into each other. That's the best way that I can kind of explain it without being super psychological in my conversation. But the clusters or the symptoms kind of bleed over into each other. Sometimes it causes confusion as to what diagnosis you may be dealing with. That's why I always tell you, be careful when you try to diagnose somebody with something, because it may not be what it is that you see. A lot of times, borderline personality disorder and bipolar disorder look very similar. A therapist is able to distinguish the difference between borderline personality disorder, a personality disorder, versus a mood disorder, right? And the thing is that if you look at some of the symptomology of borderline personality disorder, it's a love-hate relationship. They connect to people really quick. It's that I love you, I hate you, get away from me, where are you going? Has that it's almost that abandonment type of issue. They gravitate to people really quick and they hold on really quick. And if you're dealing with like orphan syndrome, if you think about an orphan syndrome, an orphan has never been able to attach to anyone. And so when I talk about the narcissist versus the supply, not all people that have been traumatized in childhood develop narcissistic personality disorder. Not all people, that have had trauma develop these type of issues. Some of them do. Yeah, they do. That could be true, but not everybody that has been traumatized in childhood develops a personality disorder. Not all of them develop severe mental health disorders. Some of them do develop major depressive disorder, anxiety disorders, which is post-traumatic stress disorder, is an anxiety disorder. Some do develop different types of disorders, right? However, when you're talking about an orphan syndrome, you're talking about someone that has never been able to connect with someone. And when you have someone that's never been able to connect with someone, sometimes the results of that, if you look at narcissists, they turn inward. They're not able to experience life. They're not, everything that is good or has viewed as being good as a child ends up being their torment, because the people that were supposed to be good in their life ended up leaving or ended up abandoning them. And so they don't trust attachments. They don't trust people, because those are the people that were supposed to be good in their life are the ones that hurt them. And so because those are the ones that hurt them, they turn into themselves. They try to fix everything. And when they see something good, they may gravitate toward that good, because they want that thing that they see. I want that feeling. They look at families, and I want that family, and I want that dad, or I want that mom right there, because I want that feeling. I want to feel good. I want to feel good about myself, and so they may and supply can do the same thing. Some supply are not narcissists. And what happens is when they find something good, they're the type of people, they find something good, or they find someone, you may have been nice to them. You may have showed them there are good people in this world. You may have done something nice to them, and all of a sudden they become obsessed with you. They become obsessed with you, and they attach to you. And then it's almost like they overwhelm you with their presence. And what happens is they get something good, and it's almost like they choke the life out of something good. You know, but they find something good, not understand constantly what the choice do to other. Not exactly, but what happens is that a person that has that orphan syndrome, they gravitate to something good, but the problem is like Edward Scissorhands. They put Edward, everything that Edward Scissorhands touched, that even if he loved, he tore it up, because his hands were not hands, his hands were scissors. And a person that has an orphan syndrome, what happens is they gravitate to something. Yeah, they don't want to let it go, but they try to take something that's good, and what end up happening is they squeeze the life out of that thing that is good. They squeeze the life out of that what is good. And when they squeeze the life out of something good, or try to squeeze the life out of something good, what ends up happening is, Sharima, can you moderate for me? Can you moderate for me over here on YouTube? There you go, Sharima. Stream, I want you to moderate. So when you see trolls come up, they ask crazy questions, they make inappropriate comments, they say, crazy stuff. Just go ahead and don't put them on timeout. Just block them from the channel altogether. Okay. Thank you, Sharima. Thank you, Sharima. But what happens, what happens is, what a person with an orphan syndrome, they gravitate to things that are good. These are the type of people that when you do well, they don't know, they have socialization issues. And so they gravitate toward people, but what happens is they'll overwhelm people with themselves. And they gravitate toward these people to a point where they overwhelm them to a point where the person tries to get away from them. These are the type of people that will stalk, this person that they care about. They see a family that they want, and what they'll try to do is replace, say, as a child that's being loved by the parents, and they want that, or a person that has been adopted and they want that. If they find that there's competition, if they feel, there's a natural child versus an adopted child, or you're a friend, friend of the family, that you see how the parents are treating the child, and so they want to eliminate their competition. And so they'll try to eliminate the competition. Thank you, Harold. But they try to eliminate the competition. Moderate for me, Harold, because sometimes there's some people on here that are just very disrespectful. So I'm gonna let you moderate for me, Harold. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I know you'll take care of me. And let me go ahead and get this person out of here too, so you guys won't be interrupted. So you guys know how to take care of take care of the. Well, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. But what happens is matter of fact, that's exactly Mick Swagger. That's exactly the example that I used last time. You guys remember the hand that rocks the cradle? Oh, I made you a moderator. So all you have to do is put you see a disrespectful comment, just tap on it, and what'll happen, a screen will open up, and it'll say like timeout for so many women. Then it'll say, for so many women. I'm sorry, that's not what I meant. It'll say timeout for so many minutes, or it'll say block. And so if it says block, or it says block, or it'll say something else from the channel, and just hit that and to get them off the channel. Okay. So that's all you have to do. But yeah, the hands the hand that rocks the cradle, the hand that rocks the cradle. Yeah. But the hand that rocks the cradle. Thank you so much, Harold. I appreciate you. But the hand that rocks the cradle, you remember that he had an affair with her, and then he just dropped her, and she got obsessed. Yeah, banned. There you go. Banned from the channel. That's what I meant. Thank you, Radiant. I appreciate that. She wanted the lady's family because he had an affair with her, and then all of a sudden he dropped her. And so then she wanted that family. So she became so obsessed with this, trying to get back in there, because he didn't want nothing to do with it. She boiled the bunny, and then she was trying to take over, or remove. So that you just let him know. Let him and Sharima know. They'll do it for me. Thank you so much. But what happened was she wanted to take over and get back into, she wanted to get rid of her competition. And a person that has like an orphan syndrome, or feel abandoned, remember, it's almost like throwing them in a big ocean and they're grasping for air. So they're grabbing at anything to try to stay afloat. And if you get in their way, they'll grab a hold of you and take you under with them. But they grasp at thing, and they try to hold on to that thing to a point where they'll suffocate that thing. They get obsessed to a point where they want to eliminate they try to eliminate their competition. And they eliminate their competition, and it could be their child. It could be their child. It could be their not their child. It could be the person's child. It could be a family member. And on top of that, if they feel like you have offended the person that they love, they'll try to eliminate you. And it could be something simple like, I can handle this. Don't worry about it. Don't get in my business. I can handle that. But because of the fact that they feel like that you have offended, they feel like that person may have offended you, they'll try to get rid of that competition. They try to get rid of the competition. They become obsessed where they begin stalking you. They're stalking you because they can't understand, why are you pushing me away? Because they're being triggered at the fact that, you're neglecting me. You're rejecting me. You're rejecting me. Oh, fatal attraction. That's right. Fatal attraction. Two different ones. I'm sorry. Two different ones. Yeah. Fatal attraction and hand that rocks the cradle. Both of them, are the same thing. Yeah, they use triangulation, but they use all these things. You got to remember that they feel empty. They feel empty, and they try to, Glenn Close. That's right. But they feel empty. She's a good actor too, but they feel empty. They feel so empty that no matter what you try to do to fill them up, they never are full. So they're always looking to be filled. And if you think about a narcissist, that's how they are. They're constantly looking for new supply because it doesn't matter what you give that narcissist, they always feel empty. It doesn't matter what you do, the standards are always higher than they're supposed to be. You know, they you don't have any history with me, SpongeBob. I don't know you. I know Sharima and I know Harold. So I asked them to be, they've been with me for years, but you don't have any history with me, so I don't know you. So, but I appreciate you asking. Thank you so much. I appreciate you asking. But the thing about it is that you know, a narcissist, you know, sees what they want. That's why they chase behind supply. They see something that they want, they see something that they want and they go after it. That's how they end up chasing supply. It's always, and what happens is that they get bored very easily. And when they get fuel from a supply, you know, the more fuel that they need. And no matter how much fuel they get from a person, they always need more. It's never enough. It's never enough. Never enough fuel. So they will drain a person, and once they drain a person, they have to go get copious amounts of fuel from somewhere else. And so when they get copious amounts of fuel for someone else, it's like they jump from gas station to gas station. You become a gas station. They jump from gas station to gas station. These are people that are always empty. These are people that are always looking for another fill. These are people that do not have connection with people. And you wonder why a narcissist cannot connect from people. I mean, connect to people. They don't have the ability to walk in empathy. They don't know how to put their, they don't know, they don't want to because it's too dangerous for them to put their feet in other people's shoes. They don't have the capacity to do that. When you love them, they don't know how to love because you're a human being. So you can't be embarrassed, or you know, you can't be embarrassed or humiliated or don't want to speak up about the fact that you love this person. You love this person and you had the capacity to love someone. That lets you know that you get, that you have the capacity to love. They don't have the capacity to love you that way. They have cognitive empathy. Cognitive empathy, they have cognitive empathy, and cognitive empathy means that they have the ability to understand how the emotions work. So because of the fact that they understand how emotions work, they know how to manipulate the emotions. They know to push your buttons in order to get you to react, because the reaction becomes their fuel. The reaction makes them feel as if they're empowered. Reaction makes them feel like they have control. You see what I mean? That like they have control. Empathy means that you're able to put your feet in somebody else's shoes and imagine the pain that they're experiencing. Oh, exactly. Very robotic. You know, they're like androids. You know, they try to pick up on those emotions. But the thing about that is that they, you know, when you have empathy, you know, if God forbid, for those of you that have lost your mothers or fathers, you know, in the past, my deepest condolences. And I don't mean to use this to trigger you, you know, so trigger warning, you know, but those of you that may have lost a mother or lost a father that you truly loved and were good parents, you know, the good parents, they did the best they can. You love them, you know, imagine, you know, me having empathy with you means that, oh my gosh, I can only imagine. I don't want to experience that pain, but I can only imagine what that must feel like. It's inevitable. One day our parents will die. You know, death is inevitable. It will happen, you know, hopefully not tragically, but it will happen one day. And, you know, to imagine, oh my gosh, you went through this. I cannot imagine what you feel like, even though I know my mother and my father is still alive. You see what I mean? And the thing about it is that I have, and I'm just using me as an example, I have empathy. You have empathy to be able to put your feet in someone's shoes and you want to comfort them. You want to make them feel better. I don't know what to say, sis. I don't know what to say, bro. But if I can help you, if I can, you know, do you need something? Let me just come and sit with you. You know what I mean? If I can come and sit with you, you know, because I will want you to do that for me. And then if I were to do that for you, if that were to happen to me, you're able to empathize with me because you've experienced that pain. A narcissist cannot feel that. They refuse. Something has happened in their childhood where they completely shut down. And because of the fact that they completely shut down, they refuse to feel those feelings, because once they felt those feelings, imagine this for just a minute. You love someone. Oh, okay, let me talk to the men for just a minute. And you guys talk to me for a minute, okay? A man, when a woman says you have hurt me very deeply, usually she's talking about the fact that the man has cheated, right? When a man says you have hurt me very deeply, normally he's saying I can't trust you with my emotions, because when I do become vulnerable and express my emotions to you, you use them against me. Like in an argument, you use them against me. And so a man will shut down so that he won't express his emotion to no woman. He will not be vulnerable to any woman because he's been hurt by a woman that used his emotions when he was vulnerable. And so when he wants to trust someone, he's not able to because he's had a bad experience, right? Gentlemen, let me ask you that question. Am I correct? Am I correct? Keith said, and that's why we never share our feelings. So I'm correct, right? That means that because of the fact that someone has hurt you that way, you guard it and you won't express it. For a man to be vulnerable with a woman, that means, see, Harold said yes. So that means for a man to be vulnerable with a woman, you have tested her. Now, I don't mean test in a negative way. And gentlemen, you talk about me, okay? But talk I said talk about me. Talk to me. But gentlemen, let me talk to you for a minute. So that means that in order for you to really trust a woman with your emotions, that means that while you were dating, you tested her to see what would happen. You didn't totally trust her with your emotions. See, men, you shut down, but you never, and it takes a very special woman to open you up. But that means that you have watched her. Now, I'm not talking about a narcissist. I'm talking about a man, And so what you'll do is you'll watch her. You'll give her little tidbits of information to see what she's going to do with it. You'll test her to see how she handles your vulnerability. You'll give her a little bit just to see what she's going to do, and she's got to pass the test. You see what I mean? She's got to pass that test for you to open up to her. And it takes a lot for a man to trust. But once a man has deeply once a woman has deeply wounded a man, they shut down. Now think about what I'm saying for just a minute. Now just think about, you know, now think about a narcissist. All narcissists, male and females alike, that have been wounded in childhood, that have been abandoned, rejected, abused, misused, anything that has happened, something has happened, or some of them that have been overparented, meaning they have been made to be, little gods. They have been put on pedestals. They have been taught by a narcissist how to be a narcissist. And when I say that, they're teaching them how not to have empathy, because our responsibility to the children is to teach them how to have empathy. When my children used to squeeze the cat too hard, I'm like, no, soft touch. You don't do that. That's not nice. What if I squeezed you like that? That hurt. Ow. See, that hurt. You don't do that. You don't hit nobody like that. That's ow. But you're teaching the child how to have empathy. And as they get older, you're teaching them, you shouldn't do that, or you shouldn't say that to a person. How did that feel when they did that to you? And you're making them think. You're making them connect with those emotions and let them know that was. And men, let me say something for a minute, ladies. Let me say something. Ladies, I understand, because I have been in the same boat right along with you. I have been hurt by men, not just a man. I have been hurt by men. I was hurt as a teenager. I was hurt growing up. I was hurt. One of the biggest things that I experienced, was in a 20-year marriage. Now I could have came out bitter, but what I did was, instead of being bitter, I had to release. That doesn't mean that I ever want to be with them again. If I didn't have a kid with them, I wouldn't have nothing to say to them either. But you have to remember that some of you, male and females alike, when you come out of these situations, for some of you, don't have any connection with them, don't have no kids with them, don't have nothing. You can cut them off. You ain't got to never say anything to them ever in life again. Some of you have to be wise, because you have to still talk to them, but you don't have to give them all your business. You can still gray rot. You can still distance yourself. You can make it all about the child. You know that you'll have some issues with a narcissist because everything is about you, because they're trying to get you back. And when I say get you back, trying to pay you back for leaving, or pay you back for having a good life after you leave. And you have to be wise, because if you mishandle them, if you do things you know for a fact, and some of them do for the kids because you're nice to them, and you have to be careful, because a lot of them, what they end up doing is they pay you back by abusing your kid. And when I say abusing your kids, the stuff that they say to them, the stuff that they do to them, That oftentimes that they won't do for them. You know what I mean? They won't do for them because of you. Something as simple as getting them something to eat, the child support money, you know what I mean? And so they'll do things to pay them back because of you. You see what I mean? And so you have to be careful. But let me say something to the ladies for just a minute, okay? Let me say something to the ladies. I know that you have been hurt by men. Every man is not the same. Most of the time we make these I didn't do it, but most of the time, and I just say we because I'm talking about the women in general, a lot of times, what happens is that because we've been hurt by a man, and it may have been the same man over and over again, but you got to look and see what is the common denominator. You're the common denominator. That doesn't change who a narcissist is. You know what I mean? That does not change what a narcissist is. But sometimes you're the common denominator because you did not take the time to heal. When you take the time to heal, you'll put up standards. When you take the time to heal, you won't be so quick to lower your standards to anything. You won't be so quick to fall for the game. Men play games, whether a narcissist or not a narcissist. A lot of times they'll look at you and they'll know you're not the one that I want. And not all of those men are narcissists. Sometimes they already know you good for this, this, and this. And that's all you good for. I don't want you. And the first thing that women do is call them out and be narcissists. No, they're not. A lot of them are not narcissists. A lot of them just know, I don't want you. You remember what Rick James says? The kind you don't take home to mother. That's that type of girl that you are. And you have to watch it. Like I said, not every man, just because a man lays down with you doesn't mean that you are marriage material. Be real with you. Not every man that lives with you wants to make you marriage material. You wonder why you have been with this person for 5, 10, 15 years, 7 years. You guys live together, but he won't put a ring on it. He won't marry you. He's just not ready. But yet he break up with you, or you guys break up, and then he meets somebody and marries that person within 6 months. And you wondering, what is the problem? You were the problem. You didn't have any standards. Am I right, gentlemen? Am I right? You didn't have any standards. You were like one of the ladies said, and I reposted it on my Facebook page. What it is, you're a placeholder until the right one come around. I mean, sometimes we just have to be realistic. Now, things, see what I mean? So the thing about it is that, ladies, yes, a man may have hurt you, but every man is not like that man that you were with. And if you keep on getting with the same person over and over again, you have to go look and see what is the common denominator. You may be the common denominator because you keep pulling the same type of people. And the reason why you keep pulling the same type, magnetizing the same type of people, is because you have not taken the time to heal. You have not taken a heal. A narcissist has a orphan, a narcissist has orphan syndrome. And so they'll pull you in, but because of the fact that they have an orphan syndrome, they're not accustomed to having anything. So it doesn't matter whether you leave or not. They kind of self-prophesy. You know what I mean? You see, he said she could be fun and exciting, but not marriage material. It take a lot to make a man decide that that is the one. You got to have some quality. You got to have some history. You got to have some scars. You have to be trustworthy, you know. And remember, ladies, a man is attracted by what they see. So it doesn't hurt for you to take care of yourself, even if you've been with them for a while. When you're dating, they're still attracted by even if you're married to them. You can't just decide that you married to him now and you can look any kind of way because him love me. He's gonna be depressed. You were pretty, and now you a hot mess. And you know you got potential. So let's put that out the way for a minute. But ladies, just because a man has hurt you does not mean that every man is like that. And let me explain something. For those of you, a man ain't nothing. They all the same. No, they're not. The ones that you date are all the same. The ones that you've been with are all the same. Because I have met some gentlemen that are looking for wives, very handsome, very attractive, very, very prestigious, very, they have goals in life. They make great money. They're ready to take care of someone. They just have not found the right one. And these are good men, but they're kind of standoffish. They're kind of standoffish. But you have to remember something. It takes, you have men that are fathers, and you have men that have taken the place of fathers, stepfathers. You know what I mean? Stepfathers. You have Treelin, you just haven't found them because you might be the common denominator. See what I mean? Because when you are in a healed place, the right ones will come to you. The right ones will be attracted to you. When you're not ready, they're not going to come. When you're not ready, you're not going to attract the right one. You see what I mean? The thing about it is that, you know, you, the thing let me put it in the right words so I don't offend people. Folks get offended really quick. You know, when you see, it was meant for a man to be in a woman's life, as a father figure, to have a father figure, to see the balance on both sides, and the balance of both sides. It was meant for a man to show a young girl in a healthy way, not in a perverted way. It was meant for a man to show a young girl what it's like to be treated well. When you put that imprint in her life, when there's a footprint or a fingerprint in her life as to what a young woman is supposed to be treated like, that is what she looks for when she leaves home. If she didn't have it in her house, if she did not have a man around, whether it's an uncle as a father figure, a grandfather as a father figure, then she's going out and she's always looking for that thing that she never had. And in her mind, she creates a picture of what she wants, but she doesn't really know what that looks like. So she's creating it in her mind. So when she gets with a man, she puts all these expectations on this man, but he doesn't even know these expectations are on him. Some of those expectations, he don't know what her expectations are, and they're unrealistic. They're unrealistic. These are all, sounds like he didn't protect her, exactly. But some of these expectations become unrealistic when you get with this man. You're expecting him, you're telling him what he needs to be. You're telling him how he's supposed to be a man. You're telling him what he's supposed to do, but you don't even know what it's like to be a man. You haven't even been around a man. You haven't. I was around my father. There were certain times when my father he ain't say nothing. So, just leave him alone and quit popping off. You better shut your mouth. It was just a look he gave. And ladies, I know some of you have been hurt, so you don't want to hear this, but when you are with your man, there's a certain look he can give you, like, okay, that's enough. He ain't gonna try to disrespect you. He ain't gonna try to hurt you. He's respectable, but there's this look that some men get that is like, I'd had enough. You talking too much. You doing too much. Respect me, respect my space. You see what I mean? And if you've never had a man in your house, how do you pick up on those cues? You know what I mean? How do you pick up on those cues? How do you pick up on that? You know what I mean? If you've never had a man around, you don't know, what it's like for a woman to respect a man, because your mom never had respect for a man because she was hurt. And so she passed that hurt down. What is it like, to be in a house with a man? I had brothers. Now, we used to laugh and joke and stuff, and I used to tussle with my brother until we got older. So I got in the military, I was tussling with my brother, and he messed around and picked me up and slammed me on the ground. I knew not to tussle with him like that. There was a certain limit I went with my brother, and my brothers, because I'm the oldest, they always had that sense of fear, that respect. But my brother didn't understand his own strength, and me and him were tussling. He messed around and slammed me like a man, and I had to get up and act like nothing was wrong. But I knew from that moment, I know how far to take it with my brother, and he's a man. You know what I mean? I knew how far to go with him. With my daddy, sometimes, because I'm the oldest, I know how far to go with my daddy. And now him and I have grown folk conversations, and I talk to him. And one thing that my father said, he says that, because I was mad at him because I didn't understand my father's love language. And my father's love language is active service. He'll be there for all his children. But I wanted my daddy to be touchy-feely and huggy and I love you. My father's a Southern man, but that's not his love language. His love language is to make sure he does for his children. But I didn't understand that, as I got older, until one day I had to apologize to my father. And I told my father, please forgive me, because I thought you didn't love me because you didn't A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And my father finally said, he said, I love you with all my heart. He said, Daddy, love you with all his heart. My daddy talking third person. But he stopped talking in third person. He said, I love you with all my heart. He said, I always have. And then I told him, I said, I didn't understand your love language. And sometimes women, what we do is we put our love language, or the way that I want you to tell me you love me. How many men enjoy every day your woman's like, but you ain't say you love me today. You ain't act like you love me today. And men are like, oh my God, what more must I do? Ladies, you have to understand her love language. You have to understand their love language. And some men are just not talky talky. Women have a tendency, we externalize. That's why we talk about emotions, and we talk about we talk about emotions, and we talk to, and then you want that man to be all emotional. Some men are not emotional like that. Now they'll be intimate with you, and they love that intimacy too. Men love that intimacy too. But the problem is that a lot of times men are not talky talky like we are. We're the ones that talky talky. So when we talky talky, a lot of time a man is confused because they're thinking like, where you're giving me, you're giving me this information, a man's mind is set to protect and do. So if you give me this information, I'm supposed to be doing something. And you're looking at him like you're supposed to listen, and you'll never listen. You'll never say anything to me. And the man is like, because when you give me information, my mindset is to go and do, to fix the problem. And ladies, and I learned this from a man. I learned this from Bishop Jakes. I learned this from Ron Carpenter, Apostle Ron Carpenter. I learned this from Miles Monroe. I learned this from Keon Henderson. All the men. This is not something that comes from me. This is something that I had to learn from men. So ladies, we cannot be the spokesman for men because we've never been a man. You learn from a man. All this information I got from a man after I was divorced. So there was a lot of things that I didn't know. Even though I was with a narcissist, that did not excuse what he did. At the same time, I was still learning about men by listening to men. So ladies, we cannot be the judge on how a man's supposed to be because you're not a man. You are not, the subject matter expert. And the thing is that a lot of men do not verbalize, they do not externalize, they internalize. You give them information, you give them a problem, a lot of times they're quiet, they don't say anything. So your mindset is, I'll just do it because he'll never, right? But what ends up happening is it'll be a week or two later, he comes back and said, remember that question you asked me? He's, I got an answer, I got a solution. And you're thinking to yourself like, oh my God, I've already figured it out. That's because a lot of times men process a little longer. They play it out in their mind. They turn it into a 3D object, a three-dimensional object. They turn it around and everything. By the time they give you the product, see, their thing is they want the applaud. They think about this. This is what Bishop Jakes, I thought about. I say he is so right. Gentlemen, when you used to be young, when you were young and you were playing sports, your biggest cheerleader, now I'm talking about the ones that had a mama that was a good mama, you know what I mean? But a lot of times when you were out playing sports, what you were looking for was your mama, because your mama was your biggest cheerleader. Your mama running on the side, don't hurt my baby, and she, oh my God, she's your biggest cheerleader. She out there for her son, so you're out there performing for your mama because you want that applaud. Now, what your daddy, most football players, hey, this is for my mama. Hey, mama, I love you, mama, right? But when it came to daddy, you felt good. You felt good. Your daddy was out there. Your daddy was the one that taught you suck it up and be a man, and this is what you do. And so you were proud. Your father was proud of you, but it was your mom who you were performing for. And what I found out is that when men get older, guess what they do? What they do is they perform for the wife. Guess what they want the wife to do? Or the girlfriend, the fiance? They want the applaud. So they do things because they want you to applaud them. Whether they're wrong or right, that doesn't mean one thing that a man can't stand. A man cannot stand disrespect. A man cannot stand a big mouth woman that's going to embarrass him or humiliate him in public. And the one thing that they love the applaud. They'll go fix anything for you as long as you come out like, baby, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. They'll do it again. That becomes their love language. They'll do it again. Those words of affirmation, they'll do it again. But when you dog him out, he ain't gonna want to do it. He will withdraw and stay in a cave. And if he can't figure out the problem, if he can't figure it out, he'll shut down and he'll go into a cave and shut down. And ladies, you don't want him to shut down and go in a cave because, like Bishop Jake said, it's hard to get him back out of the cave. It's hard to get him back out of the cave once you shut him down and hurt him like that. Once you humiliate, embarrass him. You see what I mean? He said a man wants a girl that has his back no matter what. Now, one thing that I would say about that, a woman will have your back as long as you know how to treat that queen. When a king knows how to treat that queen, a queen will do anything for her king. But if a man is mistreating her, or if they lying, or if they doing, if they're lying, if they're doing illegal stuff and everything, and it's against her standards and against her character, you're going to have a hard time with that woman, And And we talk about that, you want a woman that's there for you. You want a woman to love you. You want a woman that does this and that and this. You got to bring something to the plate as well. Because a woman, when it comes to a woman, when a man loves a woman right, ain't nothing that woman ain't gonna do for you. She'll get up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. She'll cook for you. She'll make sure when you get in the bed, your bed smell good. She'll stand right there while you in the shower. She'll come and bring you a warm towel. When you do right with a woman, and when you treat her right, when you love her right, and I'm not talking about the sex, you see what I mean? But when you open up that door, a leader knows how to lead. When a man is a real king and sits on a throne, he does not crush the people that he serves. A man knows how to serve. A man knows how to, a real king knows how to serve. A king serves the people. And when he knows how to serve the people will turn around and support him in anything he does. So when a king sits on a throne and he's in his home, he's not demanding, he's not abusive. You know what I mean? He's not abusive. He knows that she's gentle. She knows that she's a flower. He knows that she's strong, because most of us women are very strong women. I do it by myself. There's no man in my life doing anything. I do it myself. If I got something to repair, now Harold knows, because both of him and I are retired military. And one thing the military has taught us, you got to learn how to do it yourself. But one thing that I can tell you, I know how to do it myself. I know how to crawl up on the car, because I used to work in a motor pool. I know how to crawl up on the car. I know how to fix certain things. The things I don't know how to fix, I'm going to go let somebody else fix it. And I want you to teach me, so that if I need to do it again, you know what I mean? So I can do it again. When it comes to repairing my house, I do the repair in my house. When it comes to cutting grass, now Harold, you know, and I know. Me and you both would have been out there cutting grass together. You know what I mean? Because I know how to cut my grass. Everything that I need to do around my house, trim weeds. Matter of fact, I done got out of church looking like this right here. Got out of church right here, slipped on some shoes real quick, took my lawnmower, because I got a small yard, took my lawnmower in my Sunday best, went out there and cut the grass real quick and put the lawnmower back in there, walked in the house. You see what I mean? So it's not that it's not most of us women have learned to have to do it ourselves for the time being. I'm a mother, I'm a minister, I'm a therapist, I'm a coach trainer, I'm a grandmother. I know how to do all that. But let me tell you one thing though, ladies, and this is this is the soft side of a woman. When a man comes into your life, you got to learn to back up and let him be a man. You can't outman him. Even if you do know how to do it, you can't outman him. You got to let a man be a man. And when a man, like I said, when a man knows how to love a woman right, and that does not mean sex. I'm not talking about sex. And love is not an emotion. An emotion is an emotion. But when a man loves a woman right, and he handles her right, and he does right, there's nothing that woman won't do for him. And she'll do the same for him. She'll get his back, whatever he needs. He ain't gonna have to ask. I mean, of course, you still got to have communication. You can't read each other's mind, but a woman would do it. Now, check this out. I said all that to say this. It takes two healed people, two healed whole people to have a whole family. Now, for some of you guys who may be older that won't be having any more kids, your kids are grown and out the house, you got grandkids or whatever, it still takes two healed whole people to come together and have a whole relationship, to have a whole family. Some of you guys who have been through narcissist abuse, there's still love. You just have to heal. Ladies, we're talking about, I want a man that got 6 figures. Do you have 6 figures? Now, I'm not necessarily saying you have to have 6 figures to get a 6-figure man, but I'm just saying, what do he want with you? Because nowadays, both of y'all got to have income. But I'm just saying, are you educated? Because sex is sex. And you can have sex with someone and it's great. But check this out. Men are getting wiser. And you can have great sex with a man, but you can be an empty head. And so there's nothing that you are stimulating in his mind. And the older a man gets, sometimes when a man gets older, and I'm not talking about, you know what I mean? I'm not talking about immature men that never grow up and learn anything. I'm talking about a man that is in the healing process. Ladies, gentlemen, sometimes when two people come together, there's still work that has to be done. You're not going to get a perfect man. You're not going to get a perfect woman. When you come together, you may be perfect for each other, but there's still stuff that you have to work out together, because you're learning certain things about him and you're learning certain things about her. And it's not perfect. You know that she probably has some wounds and he has some wounds, and you guys are learning. But if you love and both of you guys are vulnerable, you're willing to learn. You see what I mean? You're willing to learn. But the one thing that you know, that he ain't gonna cheat on you. She's not gonna cheat on you. You men, you can trust her with your emotions. You can trust her with your vulnerability. You know what I mean? She can trust you with her vulnerability. She's got a broken heart, and that man comes in. He comes in to protect, and he will protect her heart. When a man knows how to protect a woman's heart, that woman is going to protect his heart as well. When a man knows how to protect a woman's heart, a woman will do anything to make sure that she'll get a gun. Okay, I don't know if I was supposed to say that on on here, but she'll get a gun and go out there packing. She'll go out there, and Harold, you know what I'm talking about. You got the commander and you got the first sergeant. And when you got the commander, the first sergeant is always on the right, on the left side of the commanding officer. The first sergeant is always on the commander is always on the what we call the non-firing side. The they call it the weak side, the non, because most people are right-handed. They carry their pistols or their weapons in their right hand. And what happens is that first sergeant, or the least, not least ranking, but the junior person, is always on the left side of the senior person. And so when you are, if you are, when you talk about a man of honor, a man of statue, a man that has learned from his deep pains himself, and you know how to protect her heart, she will walk beside you, and she will protect your unguarded side. It's like a commander and a first sergeant, or a commander and a command sergeant major. And I know you know what I'm talking about here, because both of us served in the army, not together at the same time. You know what I mean? But the thing about it is that, I'm retired Army. I am. But I said all that to go back to what we were talking about at first. And what I was talking about at first is that orphan syndrome. And that orphan syndrome is exactly what the narcissists have. They have an orphan syndrome. And if you don't watch it, thank you. A person that has that orphan mentality. Now, not all of them are dangerous, not all of them are dangerous like the narcissist, but they can be scary. They can be stalkers. They will destroy anything that they put their hands on. They become obsessive. They don't want you, they find you, and you treated them nice. They don't want nobody around you. They get to a point where they become, they become annoying. You know what I mean? They get to a point where they're literally annoying, and you want to get them away from you. All right then, Marine. Hoorah. That's what I'm coming out. That's what I'm talking about. But I love my Marines now. I love the Marines. But the thing about it is that when you're dealing with a person with that orphan mentality, that orphan syndrome, you have to be careful, because of the fact that they will destroy anything to keep what they have. Something that they find valuable, they'll destroy whatever. Thank you. They'll destroy whatever they get their hands on. Hey, Elijah. But they'll destroy anything they put their hands on. They'll stalk you if you try to get away from them. Listen, I had one. Hold on, I'm trying to think how far to go in this conversation. I had one to stalk me. I had one to stalk me to find information about me, found my address, my family names. I had one, but I had to let the individual know, and it was a female. I had to let the individual know, don't play with me. I may be kind, I'm gonna be professional, but don't play with me. You show up at my house if you want to. What did they say on the clumps on with Eddie Murphy? You may walk down here, but you're gonna limp back. Don't play with me. I'll be professional. I'm gonna be nice. You show up at my house unannounced, I'm gonna have something for you. See what I mean? Don't play with me. I'm gonna have something for you. And so these are the type of people you have to put your foot down with. A narcissist, is best to get away from them. But let me give you a disclaimer. For those people that give you advice about, you just need to get out, you just need to get away, you just need to leave. Listen, this is the disclaimer. If you got kids by that narcissist, don't try to jump out and take those kids and run. Because if you take those kids and run, their playground is the courtroom. And what they'll do is they'll say that you kidnapped the children. And then you can have your kids taken away from you. You can have your kids taken away from you. And given to the narcissist. Your best bet, because one of the things that they always do, they try to isolate you and make you don't trust nobody now, because you couldn't trust them. You don't trust nobody. You don't want nobody in your business. Ain't nobody gonna help me, because that's what they made you feel. That's what they made you believe. But you need to reach out to a domestic violence advocate. You reach out to an advocate and you find out what you need to do to protect you and your kids. They can help you out of the situation, even to a point where they have, it's not a witness protection, but what is like a protection where they will hide you from that individual. Yeah, you can get a restraining order, but sometimes, a narcissist don't care nothing about laws and rules and anything like that. But if you feel like your life is in danger, and sometimes that's what you have to let them know, I feel like my life is in danger. They will make sure they put you in a place and hide you. They try to protect you the best way they can. They'll even help move you out of state. And so your best bet is to make sure to get paperwork, so that when you do go to court, the judge will be more, because most of those judges recognize the advocates that come in there. And when the advocates come in there, they usually recognize the advocates that work within that courtroom. So most of the family judges, they know the advocates that come in there. And usually when that advocate comes in there, they know the paperwork they need to file to protect you. They know the paperwork that needs to be filed, to make sure that when you leave, with your children, you are protected, so they can't say that you kidnapped those kids. But when you're talking about that orphan spirit, that orphan syndrome, I'm telling you, these people can be scary. These people can be abusive. These people can be obsessed. They become stalkers. They get their hands on you. It's almost like they're choking you to death, and this is even supplies. This is even those people that may not have narcissistic personality disorder. You know what I mean? Yeah, they'll set you up and make you look like the abuser. But some of them, they'll get to a point where, and they don't even have to be a narcissist. You know what I mean? They don't even have to be a narcissist. They can be one of the supplies. And a supply, this is how narcissists will gravitate to a supply when a supply is needy. And a person with an orphan syndrome or that abandoned child syndrome, that abandoned, it's a psychological phenomenon. And what it is that orphan child syndrome, what happens is that supply is in need of having someone, and that narcissist is willing to oblige because there's something that they want to get from you. You see what I mean? There's something they want from you. And if they feel like they can't get it from you, they're just going to go to another supply and leave you empty. And then they got the supply, then you stalking the narcissist. There are some narcissists that try to get away from the person that has a severe orphan syndrome. You know what I mean? Yeah, they become overbearing. Absolutely. Yep. And so that's just something that I wanted to say. And I really wanted to, it just got me in there. Listen, some of you fathers are great fathers. Some of you guys are awesome fathers. And I appreciate those things that you have done, for the young ladies in a respectful way. Not every man is an abuser. Not every man wants to abuse their kids. And you have narcissist women that'll do that, try to take a man to court, and the first thing they say, in order to get their kids, they accuse the father of abusing their daughters or abusing their children. And it's sad because there are some that are actually doing it, but what they'll do is they'll accuse a good father of doing something that he's not doing. Accuse the father, all because they want to get the children. And I commend you, fathers, that those of you that have been there for your children, those of you that have been right, that have done right. And I know that you have been hurt, just like we as women have been hurt by men. A lot of you men have been hurt by women, and it made you shut down. You know what I mean? It made you shut down. And the reason why you shut down is because you were deeply wounded. And like I said, ladies, one thing that I have been taught is that usually when a woman says that I can't trust you, it means that he probably cheated. But when a man says I can't trust you, what they usually are talking about, 9 times out of 10, what they're talking about is I cannot trust you. I cannot be vulnerable around you. I cannot trust you with my emotions. You are unsafe for my emotions. Because remember the image that a man has. They have been taught that you're a man, you don't cry. Men have emotions. You're a man, suck up your emotions. So men walk around angry because angry looks more manly than to be sad or to cry. And men cry too. I've seen men break down in my office and cry, because they have been, I don't know the appropriate terminology, but they, beyond just the physical abuse or the emotional abuse, they were violated in their childhood. And once we started talking in therapy and they opened up and trusted me, knowing that I would not throw that in their face, I've had men to open up because they kind of, even though I was the therapist, that's the professional position that I held with them, they looked at me more of a mother figure, and they opened up because they finally found that person that they could trust and talk to, even though they would never have a intimate relationship with me or a dating relationship because it's a totally professional relationship. But when these men opened up and they felt safe because I was telling them things that they were feeling, and they finally broke down and said, this is how I feel, but I feel so unsafe because I can't tell my wife this, I can't tell my mother this, because whenever they get mad they throw it in my face and I feel like a punk. I feel weak, like I'm not supposed to have emotions. I can't even tell them the things that have happened to me. So ladies, you have to take in perspective. You get mad, you can't pop off in the mouth and tell all your husbands or your boyfriends or your fiance's business because they trusted you with that information. And men, I can only say this, and I say this on behalf of the women that are on here. Hopefully you ladies would allow me to do that. Gentlemen, please accept our sincerest apologies for making those mistakes, especially when we have not been taught that about men. Most of us women were never taught that. And so a lot of times we have hurt men, not realizing we were hurting our sons. We were, the men we were dating, we wonder why they never came back. And so on behalf of the women on this broadcast today, allow me to say, gentlemen, please accept our sincerest apologies for our ignorance. Ignorance did not mean that we're stupid. Ignorant did not mean that we're dumb. Ignorant means that we lack that knowledge. You know, that means that we lack the knowledge. We weren't taught that. A lot of our mothers were wounded. Our mothers did not know that. We weren't taught that. A lot of us have sons now, and we weren't taught that. So we ended up hurting our sons by saying stuff. You had mothers over there saying, you just like your father. You're gonna grow up to you sorry like your daddy. You act like your daddy, and you tear down these young men. You know what I mean? It's tear down these men, and a lot of us, I didn't do it. I didn't tear down my son like that, but I can understand, but please accept our apologies. True enough, we can't take back what was done to you. We can't take back what your mothers have done or any woman that you were dating or married to, how they abused you. But one thing that we'll say here on this channel, we'll do the best that we can to support you. We're going to do the best that we can to respect you. We're going to do the best that we can to honor you. And the reason why I say that is because I usually deal with women more. My niche or my niche is women, dealing with women, because I'm a woman, and I understand how women feel. Not all women, but I'm a woman. So my niche is working with wounded women, women that have been traumatized. But I do recognize the fact that, because I'm a therapist, I do recognize the fact that men have been hurt because I have sons, and I understand where my sons have been wounded and hurt in the past. You see what I mean? And so thank you, Keith, and I appreciate you being here. But I want to make sure that you gentlemen know, these women may never come back to apologize. A narcissist will never come and apologize. And if they do, it's a surface thing. They want something. There's no ulterior motive. Some of your mothers may never apologize to you. Never apologize to you. Never. You see what I mean? And the thing about it is that they probably won't. And so allow me to stand in the gap for just a minute to let you guys know that we value you. There's nothing I can do to change what has happened, but we value you and accept our apologies for our ignorance. And we need to listen to you more. Sometimes we don't know how to listen because our emotions get ahead and a lot of things that we didn't learn. But I want you to know that we value you, that we value you, that we care for you, that we want the best for you. And we thank you, for the things that you have done, those women that you were there for. If you ever look at a strong woman, and when I say a strong woman, I'm talking about, have you ever seen a very confident woman? When you see a very confident woman, usually a confident woman has had a man in her life to teach her value. It is so important, men, that when you're talking to young girls, and I say in a healthy way. When you're talking to young girls, your nieces, your daughters, you teach them about their value. You're the first man in their life to teach them value. Cover yourself up. You ain't got to have all that sticking out. Your pants ain't got to be so doggone tight that we can see what you ate last night. Have some respect for yourself. You know, men don't like this right here. A good man does not like this. Take her out on a date. Take her to the movies to see what it's like to be treated to a nice dinner. You know, take and it's in a healthy way. I'm not talking about y'all's I got urges for the wrong thing. I'm talking about a healthy love, an uncle, if you're a grandfather, you talk to those girls. And trust me, you're planting seeds so that when they get older, they'll remember what you've said. One thing my older cousin said to me long time ago, and I joked about it. I said, and I did not listen. One thing he said, Carmen, remember this. He says, don't lay down to have sex with no man. He said, don't do that. He said, because the one thing you got to remember is you can change it, but you can never change it back. And, growing up in life thinking I'm grown, I did whatever I did. You know what I'm talking about? And later on, I told my cousin, I said, you know what? I should have listened. I said, you were absolutely right. I said, did I listen? Absolutely not. I did my own thing. But I understand, had I listened to you, I probably, if I was around him more often, you know what I mean? If I was around him more often, you know, and he would have been around me more often, this is my big cousin teaching me things. You know what I mean? But I would have learned even more. And so, gentlemen, don't stop talking. And I know you guys have been hurt. Don't stop talking. When you talk to a woman, let me tell you something. A woman respects a man that's got standards for himself. And a lot of times what you'll find is that women who are not all together like to seduce. And one thing, what it may seem like you being hated on, and you probably are because you embarrassed her. But sometimes, gentlemen, you have to say, you know, you have to tell them, listen, that is not attractive. If you're trying to listen, I'm gonna give you an example. And I'm gonna end this, here. I remember I took myself out to eat. I like going out to eat sometimes, but I took myself out to eat. One expensive restaurant. I just went to Olive Garden because I wanted the salad. So I wanted to eat the salad and I wanted some soup and salad. And there was a gen I was at the time I was going through a divorce, or I hadn't gone through the divorce yet. Because I remember my ex having a Hummer and I was on the Hummer. I had a big old ring on my finger at the time. And I remember I was driving, I had my arm out the window. And the guy was check this out. He was in the passenger side of his best friend's ride trying to holler at me. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? And so he trying to get my attention. First of all, you are in the passenger side of your best friend's ride trying to holler at me. And you see I got this big old ring on my finger and I'm on this big old giant truck. I don't know whether I look like I own the truck or not, but I'm just saying, right? So we get into the restaurant and we were sitting and he was sitting next to me. And he's like, he kept on complimenting me and he was just, so I turned around and looked at him and I said, listen, I said, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. But if you want a woman of my caliber, you have to be at the level of the woman that you're trying to attract, that you're trying to, and I'm not saying that you're ignorant. I told myself, I'm not saying you're ignorant, but I'm just saying that if you want a woman of my caliber, you have to be at the level of what you're trying to pull. I said that, hey, yo, you fine and everything. I said that gets old, because a real woman wants to go beyond just superficial compliments. If you want someone like me, then the nice thing to do, and I'm not saying you have to do it, is if you know that this is a place that she frequents often, pay for her meal, compliment her. I don't mean to be rude. I just want to compliment her, pay for her meal, walk by and give her a compliment. But then when you talk to her, you got to make sure that you're prepared because a woman of my caliber is educated, has a great mind. And if there's only so far that you can play the game, you know what I mean? There's only so far you can play the game where you can have a conversation with an intellectual person and they'll pick out that you're actually not as smart as you pretending to be. So if this is what, if uh yes, it will. But if you want that type, then you have to be at that level. Ladies, the same way. If you want that type of man, you got to be able to stimulate his mind, because his body is not a problem to get his body stimulated. You can have great sex, but after the sex is over, just like I was listening to some men talk I think on some type of YouTube channel, a podcast. And he says, yeah, you can have great sex, but when the sex is over, you know what I mean? When the sex is over, but when the sex is over, can you stimulate that man's mind? Because if you cannot stimulate that man's mind, then all you are is a pretty face and a nice body, and he's gonna lose interest in you. You see what I mean? And yeah, a man needs peace and quiet. Exactly. You got to be the peace in their life. Well, man, you got to be a peace in her life too. You can't be rowdy and expect her to be the peace in your life. You know what I mean? But the thing about it is that, I had to let him know. I said, if you want a woman of this caliber, then you have to bring yourself up to that level, because there's only so long that you can, I didn't understand the mask and stuff at the time, but there's only so long you can pretend to be really, really smart until you find out that she really is above and beyond you. So you have to make sure that you are at her caliber, if that's the caliber of woman that you want. Do you know what the gentleman said? I thought he was going to go off on me and try to embarrass me. And I was hunkering down. I said, he going to say something crazy. He said, you know what? He said, I really have a lot of respect for you. He said, I appreciate, he said, because you could have said something crazy. He said, but I appreciate that. He said, and I take that to heart, what you said. He said, and I appreciate you saying that to me. So men and women alike, if that's what you want, are you at the level? A man may look at your beautiful body because they are attracted by what they see. You may have great sex with them, but then that's all you have. You ain't left nothing for the imagination. There's nothing for the wedding night or anything like that. My grandfather used to say, if you give the kid, if you give him free milk, then why would he buy the cow? You give him free milk, what I need to buy the cow for it? I get free milk all the time. It ain't nothing new. It's nothing exciting. But when a man is a lion, you got to let him chase you. They like the chase. And if you chase them, the more they chase you, and I'm not saying playing hard to get to a point where you just ridiculous, but when a man is men are lions, they like to hunt. We got too many cougars out here. And I'm not saying cougars meaning all of y'all old ladies, but a lot of y'all just throw yourself in front of the man. You don't even let him do the chase. So, they're like, dang, it's like those lions that are in the zoo. They look pitiful. A man is a lion. They like to hunt. And when you allow them to hunt, there's more value. You don't give them the goods. You don't give them the jewels. That's precious. That's earned. Because they'll have, they have, they'll put value on that. They'll put value on it. And you wonder why these men are living with these women, won't put no ring on it. For what? Everything free. Like the lady said on YouTube, I think it was on hey Demond, that they said, I think she said, if you are living with a man and you're not married, y'all single. He's single. You know what I mean? And he ain't got no value, he ain't got no respect for you. So listen, free 99. There you go. So listen, hopefully this has helped you tonight. Hopefully this has helped you. And I thank you so much. I thank you so much for being here tonight. And I really wanted to say thank you to the kings. Thank you for the men that came out tonight. Thank you for supporting me. Harold, thank you so much for being my moderator. Thank you, Sharima, for helping me so that I can kind of stay focused tonight. I appreciate it, because you got crazy folks that come on here and just say anything. You know what I mean? You're a tiger for life. All right. But thank you guys so much. And thank you, Keith. I know you said it was the first time here. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much. And thank you, Harold, because I know that you're a busy man. You gone. You ain't come to none of my conferences online. I done did all my conferences online since I last seen you in Atlanta. You ain't been on none of my online. And as soon as I send you, don't think I don't notice. As soon as I send you a message to ask you if you coming, all of a sudden you real quiet. You don't say nothing. You don't say nothing. Well, you come, I'm gonna be there. As soon as I send you a message, Harold, you gonna be there? You gonna pay to be at the conference and stuff? All of a sudden, you real quiet. Then all of a sudden, you pop up again. You in a bad season right now? Okay, one day. Okay, you okay? All right, you got me then. You got me then. You got. I'm gonna leave you alone. I'm gonna leave you alone. But Keith, thank you so much for being here tonight. And I hope you have a wonderful night. I hope you come back and join me. I come on Sundays at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Sometimes I'm a little late because I'm coming from out of town and I have to run up here and charge one of my telephones. I appreciate you too. Thank you, Elijah. And you know what? And I'm doing them online. So I'm doing my conferences online. But for right now. But thank you so much. Usually I'm coming from out of town, so I have to charge my devices up. So sometimes I'm a little late, and then of course I have to take my daughter to take care of some business before I get home. And so, but I appreciate you guys for coming out, and I thank you so much for supporting me. And Dorothea, thank you so much for your appreciated time. And oh, thank you so much. God bless you and your family as well. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Is it Neek Beats? Thank you so much. I hope you do come back. You were quiet, but thank you so much for being here. You should have said something. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. If you're coming in at the very end, please make sure you go back and watch the replay, okay? And you are so welcome. Thank you, Danielle, and thank you, Christine. Thank you guys so much. Oh, Vanique. Vanique. Okay, that's pretty. I mean, I don't know if you're a male or female, so forgive me. But that's your nickname. Thank you so much, Ella, and I thank you guys so much for supporting me. You okay? Watch the replay, yeah. Because I male, okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you, King, for being here. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. You are so welcome, Ash. Is it Ashy Angel? I ain't never seen no Ashy Angel before. But if you Ashy, okay, all right. Thank you so much. But I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here. And I'm gonna go ahead and go because I was trying to look at the trolls that were coming up. Sharima, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you so much, Charlene, for being here. Sharima, thank you so much for helping me out. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. When my moderator comes, I'm gonna make sure that she knows that I put you guys on there. I know she was probably busy tonight, but thank you so much. Thank you guys so much. I keep on saying thank you, because I keep trying to read the comments. I'm gonna read the comments for a minute. Okay, I'm gonna read the comments. Let me read the comments. Do you guys want to ask me anything? Now, y'all don't ask me questions that are totally off topic because it made me break my focus from tonight. Just ask me a question. Just ask me a question. Try to keep it on topic. Let's keep it on topic. Okay. But good night to you too. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you, Jeanette. Thank you, Jeanette. I appreciate you. And thank you so much for my Facebook family for coming in here and coming strong. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's Bino Bino. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you, Miss Dorothea. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Marcia. I appreciate you. Please share the video. You never know. Like I said before, sometimes you're trying to help out family members. I look 25. You my best friend now. But I appreciate you guys being here. And like I said before, sometimes you're trying to help family members. You got to remember, if they're not ready to be helped, they're not ready to be helped. Think about what it took you to get out of that situation. Think what it took you, you know what I mean? If Well, thank you so much, Sharima. You've been here for many years. So I think you've earned that spot. You know what I mean? You've earned that spot. But I say it all the time. Sometimes you have family members that are on your Facebook page and they're going through something, and it's like, I don't know what to say. They won't help me. I mean, they won't listen to my help. They won't listen to my advice. And sometimes it's better for you to just go ahead and it's better to go ahead and just share the video. Sometimes you don't realize that they're actually watching it in secret. Sometimes you don't realize that they're watching the videos, but they won't say anything to you. And a lot of times the video are hitting them right where they are at. You know what I mean? That you're hitting them right where they're at. And so when you're hitting them right where they're at, a lot of times they won't say anything. We usually say that a hit dog howls. We know, but sometimes when you hit them, they won't say anything because the information that you're putting out is hitting them right there on the spot, and they don't want to say anything because they're not ready. They're not ready. But just share the videos, because you'd be surprised. Sometimes they won't let you know they tapped on it. They just hit that little microphone and they just listen, so nobody knows that they were there. Trust me, I've seen people do it all the time. So just share the video and trust me, you know what I mean? So, have you found narcissists who also have orphan syndrome? Most of them do. I have a narcissist with borderline personality disorder and family who's disabled and made themselves financially dependent, but he is too toxic to keep helping. There you go. There you go. You have to remember, if you have narcissistic personality disorder, you have the traits of borderline personality disorder. Most of the time, they don't have both of them, and sometimes they do. Is usually a person that has BP, borderline personality disorder, oftentimes also has narcissistic personality disorder, and vice versa. Also, I want to say this for a minute. Um, uh, there's a study, and I cannot think of, because I took a picture of it so I could repeat. I repeated on one of my other videos. But oftentimes it's in studies, there were some studies done, and it showed that mothers who have post-traumatic stress disorder oftentimes produce children that end up having PTSD. Fathers who have PTSD, oftentimes their children have major depressive disorder. Weird, huh? Do you know that how you handle trauma, your children pick up on your coping skills, and they usually repeat your coping skills? You can have a mother or a father, or it's usually like a mother who is really emotional and has PTSD, and the way that she copes with it, she's always agitated, she's always nervous, she's always anxious, she's always fearful, she's always paranoid about everything, and the child picks up on it, where it actually looks like the child has PTSD, but there's no trauma that has happened, and it's actually the mother that's traumatizing them. They're picking up on their coping skills, so that they pick up on their coping skills. So that's the way that they cope, by the way that they see you cope. Yeah. So I'm old enough, but they pick up on the parents' coping skills. So whatever way that, if you're unhealed, guess who picks up on the way that you cope? So if yours is a dysfunctional way of coping skills, like if you have eating disorder, or if like you eat to make yourself feel better, if people that like use food as a coping mechanism, guess what your kids do? They use food as a coping mechanism. If there is like a lot of obesity in the family because a lot of people have been traumatized and they eat and they have a big cortisol buildup, guess what? What it end up happening is your children pick up on those same coping skills. That's the same way that they cope. So you got to be careful. You got to take the time to heal, because your kids watch everything that you do. So when you talk about mirroring you, that mirror neuron that is in their head, it mirrors what you're doing. So if you're not good at coping, if you're always anxious, you're always worried, if you're an angry person, if you're a person that don't like to forgive, if you're a person that walks around complaining all the time, your kids will pick up on you and they do the same thing. So they just repeat what they see, and it just goes on and on. They repeat what they see. But somehow or another, we have to break that cycle. When you break that cycle, a lot of times you're doing something that has never been done before. And when you do something that has never been done before, people around you will reject you. They will reject you because of the fact that they want you to stay where you are. And sometimes people want you to stay a victim. Sometimes people, want you to stay not just a victim, but the patient. Sometimes people don't want you to heal because they feel relevant. If you don't heal, they feel relevant. They feel empowered because you're the weak one in their mind. And so you have to remember that when you break a generational curse or a generational cycle, what is happening is the people around you, and I did this in my conference. I was talking about this in my conference. So when you're breaking a generational cycle, what happens is that the system that you're a part of, either it tries to regulate that system to bring you back into homeostasis, or it kicks you out of the system because you are a threat to the system, because you may change the system. So anytime any of you have made a choice that I'm going to change and I'm going to allow my children to go through what I've been through, I'm not going to let my children be, I'm going to stay single as a woman. I'm going to stay single. I'm going to get healthy and let them see that women can do it for themselves. Men that are teaching their daughters something different, you're breaking cycles. People are either going to reject you, they're going to talk about you to bring you back into homeostasis in that family to get you back into the dysfunction, get lost in that dysfunction. So just keep that in mind, okay? Just keep that in mind. And I want you guys to have a good evening. Thank you guys so much for coming on. You know what I mean? And I hope you guys have a great evening. Thank you so much for being with me. I'm going to go ahead and get off because I know I've been on a long and I've just been talking, talking, talking. So I hope you guys have a great evening. I want you to go and I want you to be great and come join me whenever I do. I do put a lot of well, I put videos out during the week. A lot of times when I have time, I put the videos out and everything. But I come on Sundays at I come on Sundays at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Sometimes I'm a little late because I'm trying to I gotta roll. Okay, you rolled in. But I also sometimes I have to charge my devices. And so thank you so much. Like my mom said, you got to charge the devices. Sometimes I got to charge up my phone again. But thank you guys so much for being here. And I hope to see you guys this week. And I hope to see you guys next week. Thank you so much. You guys have a great evening and good night. Good night, Facebook family. YouTube family. You guys have a wonderful evening. Good night.